All right, that is our first sale. All right, I finally decided I'm gonna make everything public. You see, I have been working on my third app for the past month. I used Weweb and Xano to build this app called Instagram.ai. This app lets you upload few selfies and the AI model will generate beautiful portraits of you. And as you can see on the screen, I'm using Elon as a test here. The app was launched using Facebook ads and I even got my first customer. While I built the app, I also did something. I screen recorded the entire process from scratch using Weweb and Xano. I showed how to build everything I have built inside the app, the authentication, the integrations, the AI models, everything. And not just that. I remember my first two apps, I had partners because I didn't know how to take care of marketing. I didn't know how to take care of the distribution. So what I did was I run my own Facebook ads for the third app, and I also got my first customer using Facebook ads. So I'm also including that in this free YouTube series. If you're watching this video, that means you are probably watching one of the videos from the set series. So if you want to watch the full series, I will have a playlist of that in my YouTube channel. And if you want to work with me or my team, you can also look at the links in the description and get in touch with me as well. By the way, before you jump into the video, a word of caution. These videos are filmed raw. That means there is very minimal editing, almost no editing. So there will be a lot of head scratches. There will be moments where I don't know what the heck to do. So I'll be thinking and, doing stupid things, but eventually we figure it out, right? If you're watching the series, that means the app was launched and we made our first sale and the user is happy with that. All right. So with that said, let's jump into the series. Thank you. All right. So far we have created the function that will create the model. One made a typo. Let me fix that. More in fal.ai, right? And for now we are just returning a test response. Next step is I need to figure out a method to or create a function which can take a bunch of files and then it can create a zip file and return the zip file URL. The zip file function should also rename the files to the model's name so it's easier for the model to train on. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a create zip file for model, save. Okay, create zip file of model. Now I will turn on the request settings, right? Turn that on. And now I'm going to add a text that would be model name. We will use the model name for model name. Okay, and we will also add a file resource. Where is it? Integer object enum decimal. Oh, there you go. Storage file resource, right? We'll add that file resource and we will call it images. And this will be a list instead of single. It will be a list because we need to allow people to upload multiple photos. Okay, so list, and there you go. Now we are not returning anything, but if we try to run this, here you can see select images, and if I try to upload any images, if I go to Abby images, here you can see I have a bunch of images, right? So I'm going to select the first one. Yeah, I think the native run and debug window only allows you to upload just one file, but if we supply it as an array, it will take multiple files. So it's still fine. I'm gonna use just one for now, and model name Abby. That would be my model name. All right, so let me use that as the default so I don't have to. And file resource, Yeah, we will do whatever that is. Okay. Now, what we are going to do is we will create a zip file, uh, zip create file resource. We will create that, and the file name would be model name dot zip, right? So to add a dot zip, cat dot zip. I think I'll just concat the timestamp as well. Yeah, I can either search for that, or I can clone this and I will do now. Now, if I type in now, that means it will just add the timestamp, right? Okay. All right. So if I just run it now, this is how the file resource is going to look like. This is how a zip file is going to look when you um, when you try to show it as a text or something. Okay. So yeah, we created the file resource for zip. Now we have the file resource input, right? We will loop through this. So we're going to do a for each loop, and we will loop through x1. Actually, I want to change the name from x1 to new zip file update. All right. So we will loop through. Yeah, we need to loop through images, not new zip file, and the item will be called image. Right? Okay. Yeah, we'll figure that one out. Image resource, we have that, and now we are going to add zip add file to resource, and we will add a the file would be new zip file, and file name will be model name. And what we're going to do is we will, let me just check the documentation. Okay, so the file should be image, file name should be model name. Yeah, for now we will just use that, model name dot png or whatever. Then zip would be the new zip file. Password, there is no password or password encryption, so we don't do that. And after this, so we created the zip file, right? So if I go to zip delete at meet so there is something called create create attachment metadata, and if I send this and I try to return x1, I should get a zip file, right? So yeah, there you go, there's the zip file. I should also see this zip file in our files here. Let's try to open that. All right, so Abby whatever timestamp dot zip, that was the name given here, that for the zip file. And inside this zip file we should see, okay, let's try opening that zip file. Inside this zip file we should see the file, right? Yeah, there you go, I opened it. All right, so kind of working. Still need to add few more components or functions to this. Let me get rid of this. All right, so this was the model name whatever timestamp, doesn't really matter. Okay, so we are creating the zip file with this model name. Now zip file, password, no password. Then for each file that is being loaded, we will run it through this, and file name, we gotta figure out how to change that file name. Okay, I'm gonna call it test this .png. All right, test this .png. I'm gonna disable this. I don't want to create a file now, but what I want to do is the view contents of my zip file. All right, and the zip file would be new zip file, and I'm gonna add a zip stop command so I can view all the contents. Now if I run, okay, test this .png, that is good. Okay, so looks like I tried to add it as a variable and it wasn't working fine. Yeah, that we can do something like that here. I want to figure out if we can understand what the extension of the input image is. So I will enable this stop and try to look at image. I don't know how to figure out the extensions of the files that are being supplied. So photo of Abby was given, right? But I want to, okay, let me do this. There might be another idea. I will not name anything and I'll try to do this. Okay, so I have this, right? Now I can loop through each of these and basically set names, right? So we are going to loop for each. Let's see if we can even do that. Stop item. See if any of this works. Okay, so this is not working for each of the files. Let me see if there is any other zip file actions. File storage, zip management, delete, extract, view contents. Yeah, we don't have the ability to create a zip file of those. Okay, so what we will do is we can create a logic. I'm going to create a variable and I'm going to call it I, and the value will be 1, and every time there is a loop, what we will do is we will add or update. Actually, let's create another variable. Create variable, file name append, and the value will be value can be blank because the logic is going to be inside. Update variable, and existing variable will be the file name append, and what we're going to do is we'll just say photo of, and then we will concat the model name. So photo of Abby, that's how it's gonna sound like, photo of Abby. And we will also concat the value of variable I, and we will add a separator. Okay, now this is how it's gonna look like. inside every loop, inside every loop, we will dynamically create. Why is it returning true for each loop? Oh, I need to enable this, sorry. And this is not useful, so we will delete that. Okay, so photo of Abby -1. I think we also need to add our concat.png. I don't know how the model is going to work if everything we upload is PNG and people might upload JPEGs and whatnot. We will have to figure that one out later. A lot of things will go wrong and we will have to figure out as they go wrong. Okay, so this is how with every loop, this 1 will change to 2, to 3, to 4, to 5. So everything will be, so photo of Abby. You know what, I think instead of underscores we should use spaces. Photo of Abby, just use a space. Okay, photo of Abby1.png. Cool. Okay, now I'm gonna disable this. I don't really need this top. I'm going to enable this. Oh, actually I don't need this now. I will enable this so I can see how the zip file is going to look like. So zip file is looking like this now. It still has the old name. We don't want that. We need to change the name to file append. So now it says photo of Abby1.png. All right, that is very cool. Next is we will create a metadata. The file name should be the same file name we use here. So model name, oh yeah, here, model name concat I don't want to do this twice. I'll just make that file name as a variable. Zip file name. So it would be model name concat with now underscore dot underscore, and we will also concat dot zip, right? And there's no separator for that. My mouse is behaving weird. Okay, save and do a stop and debug of file name, zip file name, enable, run. That's cool. Now instead of doing this logic every time, I will just use that variable, zip file name. All right, and we will use that same variable here as well. I don't need to view contents anymore. Disable. Create attachment. Value would be this zip file name and new zip file uploaded zip file, because when we create attachment from file, by creating attachment, what we are basically doing is we are attaching or loading this zip file into our file storage. Okay, now let's see. Boom, there you go. Okay, now we have the vault path, right? If we go to this and append it with our workspace URL here, right? That's my workspace URL in Xano. Click on run. I should be able to download a zip file. Let's delete this and save. I don't know. And photo of Abby1. I'm gonna open it. And yeah, there you go. Okay, Abby images. I'm gonna delete that. I'm gonna delete this as well. Okay, what do we do next? So now we have a zip file. Once this is done, I want to create an output object, and I will just send out that output object. Okay, create variable output object. All right, and file URL would be, we will map it from our file URL tu. I use tu, means to use. I know it's dumb. A lot of people would say, what the hell, man? What are you doing? But yeah, it is what it is for me. I don't think we will need an output object. We will just output it directly from here. But I need to create this variable which will take data from this and create that final zip file URL. Okay, so zip file URL basically is my endpoint's URL. All right, and to this you are going to concat the uploaded zip file, and we are going to get the path. Get path. Cool. All right, I don't need to create another variable. I'll just return a URL. So zip file URL, zip file is equal to zip file URL. Update, save. Okay, I'm gonna delete the existing file. I know it doesn't really matter, but I like to keep things clean. I know this is gonna be a mess after I start testing from Weweb, but still. Oh, we have a stop and debug somewhere? Yeah, we don't need that. Disable that. Publish. Okay, so now with this, what we expect with this function, what we expect to do is we will upload a bunch of images. Can be an image, but ideally this is for humans. So we will upload those images, and then when we run it, it should basically give a JSON output with the URL to use. So I'm gonna run, and there you go, zip file, boom. And I can take this. If I go to any browser, I will be able to save this, and if I open it, should be seeing an image. Very cool, right? Very cool. Now I want to test this with multiple files now. So I can either take these to, like, convert these to base64 and do all of that stuff, but instead what I think is easier to do is I will just create an a zip file. Sorry, I'll just, instead of supplying it through here, I will just supply the URLs as an argument. All right, so in Xano you can supply file resources as a URL, and you can also supply file resources as uploaded images. Right, so I'm just trying to figure out the correct syntax. Okay, model name can be anything. I'll just keep the model name. Okay, and we're gonna add a comma, and we will do images. Oops. Images, and that will be an array, right? And inside this array we will have 1, 2, 3 images. Okay, I'm gonna type in some random stuff just to make sure something is nothing is wrong. Maybe here. Okay, now I'm gonna paste in 3 URLs. So let me just copy URL number 1, photo of Abby 1. Okay, then 8. Okay, and we will also do 7. So 187. All right. Now, if we run this, our zip file I don't know why I need this. I can just return the zip file URL. All right, now we should get a zip file, and that zip file should contain 3 files with proper naming. Okay, so we're gonna open that. Oh, I didn't copy this. Okay, zip file. All right, I'm gonna open it. Photo of Abby 1, just 1. Something's wrong. We gotta fix that. Okay, so images for each. Yeah, we're gonna view zip file contents, and we will enable new zip file, right? X1. Okay, why is it just doing 1? Let's run this. Oh, there you go. Rookie mistake. So what happened here was I have this variable I, right? And it is trying to append. So the first photo is loaded. That is fine. When it tried to load the second photo, it will have the same name, photo of Abby 1, because the I remains unchanged. So I had to update a variable. Rookie mistake. I am sorry, guys. I'm gonna disable this and publish this, and I am going to also get rid of all the unwanted zip files. Photo zip. All right, there you go. Let's go ahead and run it, and hopefully this time we get the correct zip file. All right, there you go. We have the zip file. I'm just gonna overwrite it. All right, there you go. Photo 1, photo 2, photo 3. All right, it honestly looks like 3 different people. It's still fine. All right, okay, so we've added these. Looks like we are good to go on this side. The only challenge I have now is I need to figure out how to properly determine that extension name, because right now I'm assuming everything is PNG, which might not be the case. So I gotta figure that one out. Other than that, everything else looks good. So this is how we created. We build a function to create a zip file. So our flow would be from Weweb. They would give a model name. They would select a gender because that is required when we do our stuff. So they would create a model, give a model name. It has to be unique, and the model name, after model name, they're going to give us a gender. Then they're going to give us a zip file. Sorry, a bunch of images. So 10 images. And then they are going to send it to an API. And the API will collect that images and push it to this function. This function will return a zip file. And that zip file has to be added to the model creation stuff, right? So when a model creation starts, remember we are giving a file create model. We are giving a zip file URL. Yeah, that is what's gonna come in. And I think we also need to add gender, and we will also add yeah, I think that is all that's required here. But we need to modify our add records with the gender. And actually, you know what, I don't want to do gender. I don't think it really matters. The model is smart enough to understand if it's a man or a woman. API database for models. Yeah. So with every model, we also need to have a zip file column where we have to supply a zip file URL here. Okay, so I'm gonna add should it be a text, or would it be better if I think it would be better if I do it as a text. All right, zip file URL, because in future I may take the whole thing out of Xano, and I mean at least the file storage, so I don't have to mess up the logic. So whenever add record, zip file URL will be zip file URL. Okay, so this way, when someone submits, what's gonna happen in our database is it will create a new one, but it will also contain the zip file URL, and that zip file URL should contain the images our customer uploaded. And then the fall model create function is going to create our LoRa file and config file, and it will also update the status. Okay, so I guess that's the two functions. And now we will look into yeah, so zip file is complete. We are going to build, I think we will start building the API endpoint. All right, thank you. Okay, I was about to end this, but I found a way to, well, I looked into the tutorials, all right, and Xano has amazing tutorials. I mean, man, they are an awesome team. So I could, looking at the tutorial, I was able to figure out how we can, right? Oh, where's my endpoint? Did I screw it up? Okay, no. Okay, so I was able to figure out how to determine the file type of uploaded data, right? Kicking myself for not thinking about it, but I'm not very smart. I look at documents and videos and figure things out that way. But it works, so I'm gonna keep doing it. Okay, so we have the file name, right? And we are going to create a file name based on this. So if we do an action called get file resource, and we are going to supply that image which is being iterated inside our for each loop, and if we do a stop and debug, here you can see this is what we get. All right, so we get name, this, size, this, data. This is basically the image data. If we convert this to base 64 and we try to view it, that is when we will see the image, right? I know I looked like a dumb idiot when I was trying to view the base 64 image before. This is what we have to convert to base 64 and then view as an image. But yeah, before that, we need to extract the file extension from this, right? So what we can do is we can get the name path. Are we doing a get? Yeah, so we will get the name. Now if we look at file resource data, oh sorry, we gotta add the get here. Get name. There you go. Now we need a regular expression that will basically extract the last three things of our extension. I mean everything that comes after the last dot in a file. That is the file extension, right? So we are going to figure out how to do that. Lambda function, I'm gonna use Claude for that. Lambda function. So my input is var name, file name. File name. Is that file name? Yeah, file name. Oops. Xano, please, like this use expression thing, please remove it, please. I mean, you can put it somewhere else, maybe here or something. Like every time we click this just shows up and mess things up. Okay. Contains text like this. Use regex or something to return the extension of the file. In this case, it's .jpg. Okay, let's see. There you go. We will just run it as a simple lambda function. Lambda. Right, I'm gonna add this file name, file extension. File extension. JPEG. That is good. Now we can disable this. Actually, it was a JPEG. Wow. Cool. We will concat our file extension. Publish it. Okay, now the whole function is complete. Right now, if we run this, actually, you know what? Let me go to files and get rid of any old stuff. Okay, so this is the one. I'm going to delete it, confirm. Okay, I have 3 files I'm supplying, and I'm going to click on run. I should get a zip file URL, and it should contain, I'll save it and we will open it live. Should contain all the 3 files. Can I view it? Extra large? Yeah, we can, but it's zip file, so we have to open. There you go. Photo of Ep.3.jpg. Photo of Ep.2.jpg. It was actually JPEGs. I know Windows opened it, but for servers, it's a good idea to keep the correct extension. All right, that is it for this video. Finally.